Hi everyone, good afternoon, and wishing you all a Shavua Tov U'Mvorach, an excellent week. Hametz is very different than all other things that are not allowed to be eaten, because the Torah says, Bal Yira'eh u'Bal Yematzeh. I'm not allowed to eat it, I can't even own it. Unlike other things that are asur to eat, we're still allowed to have it in our possession. Hametz we're not allowed to own, we can't have it in our domain. And therefore our rabbis instituted a mitzvah called Badeikat Hametz, which is to check our property for Hametz. And this is done the day before Pesach. So this year Pesach is Wednesday night, so the Badeikat is done at night, the night before. Tuesday night, this year the Badeikat will be then on Tuesday night. The ideal time to check for Hametz is 20 minutes after sunset, which is what we call Tet HaKochavim, 3 stars. If one checked already from sunset, it does work, it's okay. But again, ideally they should wait till Tet HaKochavim. And if one did not check that night, they must do Badeikat the next day, the day of Erev Pesach. Now it's very important that we check all our property, anything that we own, anywhere that we may have brought Hametz into. So we have to check our homes, we have to check our cars, we have to check our office. Any area that maybe we brought Hametz into it, that's where we need to do Badeikat. Now, the Badeikat is so important. Our rabbis tell us that if somebody gets home early before the Badeikat, within a half hour of the time to check, which is a half hour before sunset, one is not allowed to even have a meal, lest they may forget to do the Badeikat. Now, before I check, I say a blessing like all mitzvot. And the blessing is, Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam Asher Kedeshanu B'mitzvotav Etzivanu Al Bi'ur Hametz, which means God commanded us to burn Hametz. Even though we're not burning it tonight, even though we're burning it only the next day, we still say the blessing of burning, because the whole point of checking is in order to remove and destroy and burn the Hametz from our possessions, and therefore that is the blessing, Al Bi'ur Hametz. Even though we don't know if we'll find Hametz. It could be we may not find anything. We still say a blessing even though it's a safek, even though it's a doubt. Now when I say this blessing, I do not say the beracha of Sheheyanu, even though it's a mitzvah that comes once a year, because for the simple reason that we are, at the end of the day, burning food, we are destroying food, and that's not something that we could say Sheheyanu on. It's very important that when I say the beracha, until I finish checking, I do not talk. I cannot speak anything that's unrelated to the Badeikat, and therefore to make sure I notify everyone in my home, I'm about to start, so do not ask me questions, do not interrupt please. I am going to check everywhere for the Hametz and I cannot talk, I cannot respond. B'di'avad, if somebody spoke after they already started checking a little bit, it's okay, they do not need to repeat the blessing. But if they spoke right after the blessing, before starting to check, then that blessing that they just said is thrown away, it doesn't count, and they need to make a new blessing. The blessing that I make counts for all my homes and all the places that I'm going to check. So I say one beracha, and that counts for my house, counts for my car that I'm going to go check afterwards. It counts also for my office. It counts for all my homes. If it's too difficult for me to check all the places that I own, I could send a shaliach, I can send a messenger, so they are going to be present with me while I make the beracha. They will listen, they will answer amen, and then they will go their way, I will go my way, and each one will check the designated area. You check the office, you check the car, I'll check the house. We could even split up the house. I'll check downstairs, you check upstairs, you check the middle floor, and that would be a great way to do the checking in a thorough way. Now, if somebody has a home, let's say in Deal or in another city, that they don't plan on going to for Pesach, Hacham Ovadia does have a leniency that instead of having to go all the way and do Badeikat Hametz, if they don't plan on going there and they're selling their Hametz that they own in that area, then they're allowed to rely on the selling, and there's no need to go do Badeikat Hametz over there. However, in such a scenario, it is better to sell the Hametz before the time of checking. So for example, this year if we're checking Tuesday night, which is the 14th already, it's better to sell the Hametz on the 13th, which is the day before. So instead of Tuesday night, to sell it on Tuesday, And this way I'm clear according to everyone, and that's the best thing to do in a situation that I have another house that I don't plan on visiting it for Pesach. But of course, if I do plan on going there for Pesach, then I must do Badeikat that night. And if I can't go all the way to Deal, let's say, then I could just appoint somebody, a messenger, and they will go and they will do the Badeikat over there. Our custom is, before we check, we divide 10 pieces throughout the house. We hide 10 pieces of hametz wrapped in a tissue or in a foil or in some type of paper, and we hide them. And then when we go checking for the hametz, we take a tray with a piece of hametz in there. We take some people take a feather and a spoon, and we take a candle or a flashlight, and we check for the hametz, and we look especially for those 10 pieces, but not only those 10 pieces. The goal is not to find those 10. The goal is to find anything that may be hametz. Now, I should not take with me a torch to check, because I'm afraid that I'm going to burn the house down and I won't do the checking properly. And the truth is, today everyone should use a flashlight to do the Badeikat. That's what's advisable, and it really does the best job when we check. We're not nervous that we're going to drop wax anywhere. We're not nervous about missing a spot, about burning something. So take a flashlight. We can say a beracha, and it's perfectly fine to do the Badeikat with a flashlight. Right before I do the Badeikat, there's no need for me to turn off my lights. There's no need for me to put the house on dark. I can leave all the lights on as regular, and I do the Badeikat with my flashlight, and I go around checking for all the hametz and putting it in my tray. And that is the Badeikat Hametz in a nutshell.